Good morning, my good people. Hi, 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 and hi again. What's happening? So, everything's happening in the world. Shit, what's really going on between the all the abortion bans and the women's rights being restricted and parents murdering children or stepchildren or someone's children. School massacres, tariffs, higher taxes coming, people. Y'all get ready for it. What else? What else? So much is going on. I mean, you get on Twitter and you really find a lot more news on Twitter than you would at on the actual news stations. I tend to find out. And a lot of times, information comes forward onto Twitter before it actually gets onto the news stations. In actuality, the news stations kind of follow suit behind on the ground troopers because they're the ones that's making the noise and putting it out there for all of us to see. So, anyhow, I decided to make a video concerning the poor little child here from Houston that recently hadn't really, I'm not sure, I'm gonna have to check, but last I heard they were doing like a equa search for her in the waters and things of that nature. And oh, God bless her little heart, her soul. Um, it happened in the same area where I live, unbeknownst to me. Um, so how does this tie into my subject of dysfunctional cycles? It does in so many ways. Um, First of all, that man should not have had access to that child. Point blank, period. And it is so infuriating to me. And ever since I moved to Houston, I find a lot of this is very, very prevalent. And I'm not just singling out Houston because it's probably done in Louisiana and in Mississippi and California and Utah and Oregon and any other state. But the strangest thing for me is for me to stumble or meet a woman with children, a single woman with children who eventually gets into a relationship with someone and automatically decides to move in the house or in the same space with this man, knowing that they have young children. Um, that's just something that I learned that I would not do once I had my daughter she was my final child, but at the age of 30, her dad and I had split up by then. And one of my first rules of life was that I would not have a man moving into my house while I'm raising a daughter. Ain't no man gonna be walking around my home slanging his thing, slanging his thing while I have a young child, boy or girl for that matter. It's just crazy. Unless he's my husband, unless you are willing to marry me and you are my husband, and unless I know everything there is that I need to know about you to qualify you to even come into my space. Because believe it or not, we have some desperate women and some desperate men and some very insecure women and some very insecure men who feel like they cannot survive or they cannot live without the other in their lives. It's like you don't know what to do with yourself if you're alone. Let me tell y'all, people, being alone can do so much for your spirit and your soul. You find out so much about yourself. You find out so much about the things that you will put up with, will not put up with, things that you want, don't want, everything. When you're alone, I'm telling y'all, the peace and the clarity comes in. Y'all need to try it. But back to the subject at hand. These people and women and moving these men into their homes with their young daughters and their young sons. I mean, I know times are hard, people, and sometimes you feel like you have to have that second help there to get you through life. But you know what? I am the poster child of struggle, okay? And I knew that watching certain cycles and dysfunctions within my own childhood and lifetime, I knew that there were certain things that I was not going to allow my children to put up with or have to deal with. And all of this really first started, coming into my psyche, into my understanding when I got pregnant for my daughter, and knowing the bad relationship that her father and I had, the very dysfunctional and unhealthy relationship we had, I figured out that that stemmed from me being in an environment watching my mother and stepfathers go through the same thing. So of course, I grew up repeating the shit until I realized that, hey, look, I'm doing the same thing. And if I didn't put a stop to this, my daughter's going to grow up doing the exact same thing, and her daughter's going to grow up doing the exact same thing. And I